I think first you got to talk about the history of the wedges and Bob Vokey himself. I mean, for us at this level, we've got to believe in the equipment. We got to believe in what we're playing with, and you know, with his name on it and with the history and the success that he's had with building wedges and the players who've used them and won not only tournaments on the PGA Tour, tournaments around the world and majors, you know you're getting a quality product that's going to produce the results you're looking for on a regular basis. Working hard in there, Aaron.
Yeah. It's a very busy day so far.
Oh, I bet.
How you doing, Billy?
I'm good, buddy.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Thanks for dropping by.
My pleasure.
How has the start of SM10 been for you?
Yeah, it's been easy. You guys know me, I'm easy.
Yeah. You're a little too easy. I have to bother you sometimes.
So for me, whenever I get a Vokey wedge, I know right away that this product is at the highest standard. It's the best in the game of golf, and it's going to help my game in the areas I need. And then at the same time, when you have Bob and you have Aaron there on a weekly basis, being able to work with them to fine-tune the little points that you're looking for, to offer suggestions, whether it be bounce or whether it be loft or lies or numerous other things, it just makes it hard to not have those wedges in the bag. I would say I probably go hit some chips right around the green real quick just to see how they feel. Like I want to feel it be soft. Like I'm old school. I want to feel soft and marshmallowy, because then that allows me to be more aggressive. I don't have to worry about the ball jumping off the face as much. So then I'm around the greens, hitting some few shots, see how it's coming off. Is it coming off too fast? Is it coming off the way I want? You know, what kind of spin is it generating? And then I come out here, I pull out my TrackMan, and I'm looking for, when I hit my numbers, you know, I have a certain spot on each club where I take it to and it should go a certain distance. Not too much worried about the distance. I'm more or less worried about the launch angle and the dynamic loft. Is it hitting the windows I want? So my 62, I'm looking at somewhere around like 29 degrees launch and around 39 degrees of dynamic loft. Maybe, you know, I can live around 40, 41, but I want that to be low because then it comes out flatter. I can control the distance better. The 57, I want that to be around 20, 27, 26-ish launch, and then that dynamic loft to be around 36, 35, and then my 52, I want that to be around 23 to 25, and then I want that dynamic loft to be about 30, 33 to 32. You want your launch with these clubs to be half whatever the loft is. So with a 62, it should be around 31. 31's great. Anything low is even better. Anything high, then you start getting the ball that sort of rides up the face, doesn't have the spin. So back to the testing, I'm looking for, is it hitting my windows? Is it coming out launch-wise? Am I having to work hard to keep it down? Or is it doing it on its own, which then allows me to be able to manipulate the way I want? I can hit it higher, I can hit it lower, just based off what my stock normal shot is. What I loved about it was that it was coming out my window, but as Bob and Aaron have said, it took a little bit of that left bias miss out, a little bit too much of a draw. So, which I like, I want to be able to see that ball sort of drip right, which made it easier for me to drip right. I didn't have to hold on to it as much. It sort of flew a little straighter and then it would just fall a little right or just stay straight. I travel with the V and the T now.
Perfect.
And what I found is that my basic pitch shots with the T grind, they just rode the face a little bit, and I've got the V right now.
Yeah, because I made it out of a V.
Yeah.
All I did is just narrowed it right in here.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Took it off, yeah.
And so I travel with both now. As much as our technique and stuff is consistent, certain weeks we're a little bit, you know, how we enter and deliver the clubs a little bit different.
About it.
And so what I found with the T is sometimes the ball would just ride up a little bit higher, come out with not nearly as much spin.
Yeah.
And so with the V, it just gave me that ability where I could, you know, when I hit down, the bounce sort of engaged it a little bit more.
It would
came out lower,
Lower, yeah. So one thing, a little less bounce will do. You have a tendency to ride, she'll pop up. That's why it's so important to be, when we say fitting, be fit for the right bounce and ground for you. So it's like to try to contact on the 2 to 5 and the grooves, you know, right down
exactly.
there.
And it's funny, I try to, you know, I'm sure you've worked with so many players and so many recreational golfers. To tell them that you try to hit it lower on the face.
They don't understand.
They don't understand that. They don't understand. That's where we get the spin and we get that one to come out low.
Comes out low with spin.
Yeah.
And they don't believe that it comes out, you can't low with spin. It's amazing. You know what I've always done, and I love sound.
Yeah, the sound.
Feeling sound. You know, you can tell I get well-struck ball, you can turn like this, and you say, you know, you can hear, do he the right contact with the ball, you know, and just poof.
You know, when we do clinics and everything, and people ask like, what makes a club? How do you decide a club? I said, one thing, it's got to look good.
Yes.
It's got to feel good, and it's got to sound good.
Got to sound good.
Those are the first three things, and then I start looking out over here.
Yeah.
What does the ball do?
You are 100% with me on that one. I guarantee you.
Because if it doesn't look good and it doesn't feel good, it doesn't. Let's just say it may not instill the confidence or the trust that you need in the club.
I love sound and feel.
Yeah. So he said 2 to 5. So there's
5.
2 and
right
2, 3, 4.
Can you hit one?
The little 50 left to right.
Yeah. I want to see difference now the way we place it. Yeah,
so
there you go.
that's 57 yards on my.
But it's
so it's 55 yards right there. You have to have so much speed now to do it, but you're trying not to hit it as far. You're only trying to hit it, 50, 60 yards.
Nice. I'll move. You're a lobber around the green, or you're sand wedge?
So I vary a lot. I like to use different clubs. This off season, I've used more of my 56, which is 57.
I think so.
Because my technique's better and your misses are better. I have a 62. You have to be really precise and really perfect with your technique to get the shot you want. So the 57 allows for a greater room for margin of error.
Yeah.
So, and one thing I had Aaron do last year, because I wanted to start using more of my 56, I just had him grind down the middle a little bit, just so I had a little bit less bounce.
A little right in here?
Yeah, right at the beginning there.
You know, that you get a little, I call that pro groove.
Just so I could get a little, it would get under the ball just a little bit easier.
Yeah, you take out that camber.
Yeah, exactly. So I can just open it up and just slide it right under.
There it is. Nice.
Every player is different out on tour. You have JT uses a lot of different clubs. I think the better players, the guys that are really good with a short game, have used different wedges, have practiced with different wedges, so they have more shots to use around the greens when it's called for.
Yeah, and that's the key. But you want to have, I call having the right tools in your toolbox, having the right wedges to be able to hit this variety of shots.
Exactly.
The combination of the two wedges that you have, they got to be able to be very, very versatile. Oh yeah.
Listen, everyone loves a 60, and everyone loves to have that high lofted wedge because you can hit it high and softer, but it actually is a little bit more inconsistent if your technique's not right and your strike's not perfect every time. So taking something that has a little bit less loft allows you to be a little bit less perfect and be a little bit more consistent on a regular basis. So for me, I like the 56 because it does a couple things. I'm trying to get it to come off as soft as possible, but not let the ball right up the face. So it makes my technique have to improve to be able to hit the shot I want, especially these little short ones. Now, it would be, in a tournament, depending on the nerves and how I feel, I may just go ahead and choose a 60 because I know I can just open it up and be a little more aggressive and be, get away with it a little more. The 56, my tendency is I'll goose it a little bit. I'll give it a little bit more so then it comes off a little bit lower, a little bit hotter. So the 62 is a little bit easier. If I do goose it, I still get away with it because it comes off a little softer. But with the 56, I'm trying to get this, when I'm practicing, trying to get this to come off as soft as possible on really short shots around the greens. I mean, I use this all around the green. I'll go far away, close to the green, bump and run shots. I mean, to this pin here, I would use a 56 here, no doubt, to this pin because I have plenty of green. I can just put it in the middle of my stance and just sort of play a little basic little chip shot, which allows me to be a little bit more consistent. It's going to check a little bit and release out. The 62, I'm going to have to fly that further. And even if I do hit it perfect, it could land on a spot on the green where it isn't as receptive and it could, not check and run by, or I could land it where I want and be a little bit more receptive and check too much. So the 56 just allows it to be a little bit more consistent where I can just sort of land it, I would say, 20 feet short of the hole and let it run out.
I'll notice you a little bit open it a little bit, which I like.
Yeah.
So Sort of it takes the heel out of play.
Correct. And you know, when we get in Florida, we get in Bermuda, born and raised on that, learning how to play off of it. You know, if we get something into the grain, I'll put it right up on the toe,
yep.
like that. You may not get it to come out with a lot of spin. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. But what it does is it takes the digging effect out of play. Doesn't allow the grain to affect the wedge, and it just allows the turf run action to be better. And actually doing that, because you're hitting off toe, it deadens the shot as well too. So there may be times where, even though I'm not in Florida, if I'm here this week, I may put it on the toe of this shot right here just to have it come off a little softer. Just for it to be that deadening hit. See, those are the ones I practice at home as much as I can. I practice them at tournaments. I got a 57. I'm still opening up a little bit. So relatively, I'm probably turning to, you know, in the mid 60s possibly. But my 62, that turns into sort of a little 70 plus degrees. So this still gives me enough loft to have it get up, land soft.
I think, Bill, what happens to a lot of, I call it the avid weekend golfer, they don't know what shot to pick.
Correct.
In their mind. I think half the deal I've said is pick the shot, you know, that you know you can hit. Do a little thinking before you get to the shot, the right club and type of shot you want to hit. And they a lot of times they just hit the wrong shot.
Yeah, you're exactly right. There's a lot of times where in tournaments, depending on how I feel and you know how fast my heart's racing, you know, if it's a Tuesday, I mean, I'll take a 62 here sometimes and just,
yep.
You know, open it up, little check and spin. Tournament time, it may be a 56, it may be a 52, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna bounce it in there a little bit, land a little short, let it just lease up on the green. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be the shot that everyone thinks you should play. It's a shot that you can pull off. It's all about playing the percentages.
Confidence.
Correct,
Confidence
and having confidence you can pull that shot. I mean, same thing. I mean, I got the 62 here. Like I said earlier, I could, you know, maybe early in the week playing with the buddies and everything, I would just take a 62 and right up there and just fly it and have a little more spin to it. Or if I wanted to be a little more aggressive, a little cut spinner in there. I want everything to be low. I want it to be low, the ball grips the grooves and then stays in contact with the grooves and it adds spin. You want that ball to feel like it stays on the face as long as you can when you chip. So it's obviously creating as much spin as possible. So like Bob said, 2 to 5 is where you're looking.
Yeah.
And another thing that amateurs think you have to do is they think you have to get ball and club first. You don't have to. Actually, you don't want to.
That's what you're doing. Just
you want to use the bounce. You want to almost feel like the bounce is hitting the ground before it touches the ball. It just allows it sort of to deaden the shot
and then
and have, you know, flatten out that little bottom section and comes out with spin. So let's say the ball's right there. I guarantee you my club's landing right there and you're going to see the mark after I hit it. So the ball was right there and the grass is right here. You want that ball to land soft on the greens. You don't want it to land firm. Yes, there's times where we're trying to get it to land a little firmer and chase out, but you want that ball always, you want to be in control of the golf ball. Use a 56, use, you know, your sand wedge, even a 52. You can open it up, it engages more of the bounce. It allows you to be imperfect and get away with it. And don't, you know, don't try and, you know, like I said, use the leading edge, just use the bounce, get it back here.
Use the trailing edge.
Correct. And feel like you're using and hitting it the back of that way. You want to feel like you hear that thump. That thump.
Right there.
Thump.
Perfect.
And just try and recreate that.
And you have to stay shallow too.
Yeah. The one thing that I have a tendency of, and my technique is, you want your bottom, it's funny, you want your sternum to be in front of the ball, because then that creates your low point here a little bit and allows you to be a little shallower and use that bounce coming in. The shallows you out. I get too much where my left shoulder gets high and I get back this way. And so then I get too bouncy and I get real scoopy, or I start leaning the handle ahead because the ball's riding up, and then that engages the leading edge. So if I'm here, I try and feel like my sternum, the buttons on my shirt are just in front of the ball, and you just stay there and make your normal technique. Allows you to have that low point in front, shallows you out, doesn't get you too steep. I mean, if we went further away, we go back here. I can do it with a 62, just have that little buttons in front, and I feel like I can just, it allows me to feel like I hit down on the ball. When I don't get steep, where the leading edge takes over too much. When it comes to wedges and short game and even stuff on the range with the wedges, try different shots. Obviously, like right here, I'll hit, you know, a little cut, little 56 and see how it reacts on the green and how consistent you can be with it. You know, next one I'll sort of feel like I hood it and play like a little hook, draw a little runner. And see how, you know, these shots are reacting and how they're turning out. Because when you get on the course, you know, you figure out, oh wow, I can hit this shot. This shot allows me to do what I want here. I think too many people don't try enough and practice. Well, for one, they don't practice enough. That's simple. But you gotta have a little variety. You gotta have a few different ways of hitting shots, because you just never know how that could turn out and be a little bit more consistent. I mean, last week on number 18 on Sunday, I had a shot that I had to hit into the hill. It was up and over, and about 20 feet after it got up on top, it ran away to the pin. I was on an uphill lie, which obviously didn't make the ball come out higher. It was in between a 52 and 56. I felt like the 52 could land a little too far and may not have the grab on the green that I wanted. So I just took a 56 and I just, felt like I turned the toe in a little bit, made the same motion. It came out a little bit lower like I wanted. It grabbed a little bit and it released all the way back to the pin. It came up a little short and then it released, or it didn't have as much pace on the back end as I thought, but still got to about 8 feet short of the pin. So that was just because I practiced and tried different things and see how it turned out, that I was comfortable playing that shot where I just played on the back of my foot, toe in, and just made a normal pitching motion. It checked a little bit and then it just released all the way back there. When I see a chip shot, I can see 4 or 5 different ways to play it. I've got to pick which one I feel most comfortable with, but I've also practiced those shots. So I got to have that versatility that, that I can play, open the 56 and play a little higher, little cut, little spinner to the pin there. And then, like I just did there, I can play maybe not so far back in my stance, a middle stance, and play a little higher, little bump and run, where it hits and releases out. So I've got to have that ability to play different shots and not just have one stock shot, because that's all the wedges gives me the ability to do. With the Titleist and Vokey wedges, it gives me the ability to have multiple different shots in the repertoire to be able to have out on the golf course when I need them. Thanks, Bob.
Thanks.
Nice to see you, buddy.
See you again.
Thank you.
Great shit. I'm expecting a big thing.
Thank you, buddy.